Right now, bring on the heat with temperatures soaring into the upper 80s. You'll want to be weather aware if heading outside today. Hattie is tracking just how hot it'll get. And protests erupt overnight in Guatemala, why people there are angry with both their government and the U.S. for a new asylum agreement signed with Washington.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's 6:30 in the morning on July 28th. I'm Keely Arthur in with meteorologist Hattie McLean, who is in for Chris. Thanks for joining us this Sunday. We appreciate it.
No problem getting up early this morning. It's the coolest part of the day, so you have to get things done early today. Temperatures didn't drop much overnight. We have a little bit of fog this morning. Not necessarily here in the Madison area. Skies are partly sunny right now, but take a look at that visibility map. Visibility is near zero in Juneau. We're also seeing some fog through the Wisconsin River Valley. Sunshine should take care of that fog pretty quickly this morning. Take a look at our temperatures. 71 here in Madison, 72 in Mineral Point, 72 in Janesville. You can definitely see where there was a little bit of rain last night, where temperatures are a little cooler to the north. Temps through the day, though, will climb quickly. We're looking at 88 for a high with a southwest wind later on this afternoon. Humidity will be a factor once again today. Let's get a look at those first alert traffic maps early this morning. Not a whole lot of activity on the Beltline or in the Madison downtown area. Travel in and around Dane County also looking good at this hour.
All right. Well, I think things should be kind of smooth. Usually Sunday mornings, not a lot of traffic.
Anticipating too many problems. The fog isn't widespread, so shouldn't be an issue.
Great. Thanks for tracking that for us.
You're welcome.
Well, just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center overnight, Madison police are looking for several people who say they stole a vehicle from a garage on the city's west side. It happened just after 2:30 this morning at the 1700 block of Waterbend Drive. Officers say they noticed a vehicle that looked abandoned as they pulled up to the area. That vehicle belonged to a nearby homeowner who police say called them after hearing a loud noise in their garage. The vehicle was reportedly damaged as it left the garage. Officers believe the suspects they're now looking for got into the garage through a window. New this morning, hundreds of Guatemalans are taking to the street this weekend to protest an agreement their president, Jimmy Morales, signed with the U.S., which requires migrants passing through Central America to seek asylum there, rather than pushing north to the U.S. The protesters are now calling on their president to resign for having caved to U.S. demands. As part of the asylum agreement, the U.S. has promised to increase access to the H-2A visa program for temporary agricultural workers from Guatemala. Guatemala's top court has weighed in on the deal, saying the agreement must be approved by the country's Congress to be enforceable. Right now, Guatemalans account for 34% of border control arrests at the Mexican border from October to June, more than any other nationality. Hondurans were second at 30%, followed by Mexicans and Salvatorians. More local news now. Farmers at this year's Rock County 4-H Fair are hoping a new trade deal introduced soon, saying they need many changes from these tariffs. While this weekend's fair is meant to encourage the next generation of farmers, Doug Reboot of Reboot Family Farms says this future isn't exactly certain until the United States, Canada, and Mexico can work out a new trade deal with another farm.
It's disappointing and depressing because we're hoping that these trade deals get done because we want to get paid the prices of what our products are worth. And until these trade deals get done, we're not getting that money, and it's starting to hurt a lot of farmers.
Reboot says he's hoping a resolution will come soon. There's an update this morning from the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. Staff there are working with the State Department of Health Services to treat 8 children who have been hospitalized this month with severe lung damage believed to be caused by vaping.
It was alarming to have, over a short period of time, 8 previously healthy teens come in very sick, unable to breathe, with weight loss, looking as if they had some sort of chronic lung disease when they didn't.
The hospital says the severity of health conditions in the kids has varied, but some patients need assistance in order to breathe. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports 6 other teens and young adults, most in southeastern Wisconsin, have lung damage that might be connected to vaping as well. A boy is dead after what the Dane County Sheriff's Department is calling a tragic farm accident. It happened in the town of Dane just after 11 o'clock Friday night. The call was originally for a boy who was trampled to death by a cow, but when authorities got to the scene, they found the 8-year-old boy was run over by a skid steer. That's a piece of farming equipment. The boy died at the scene. The Victim Witness Unit of Dane County District's Attorney's Office is working with the community to raise money to send the boy's body back to his family in Central America. Looking ahead, the Madison Streets Division has a new pilot program that transforms food scraps into electricity, and it starts this week.
Currently, all the food scraps is collected by the Streets Division goes to the Dane County landfill. They have about 8 to 10 years of life left in that thing. So anything we can do to divert material going into that landfill, the better, because once you fill the landfill, the only thing you can do is build another one.
So how does it work? The scraps will be taken to an anaerobic biodigester in Middleton, and the methane released during the decomposition process will be converted to electricity. 165 households on the city's west side have signed up to donate the scraps to the program. The trial will last 8 weeks, with the first collection happening Friday, August 2nd. 1 year after historic flooding caused more than $200 million in damage across Wisconsin, people who live along Madison's lakes are still on edge about what's next. Topher Christensen is one of those people. His property butts up against the Monona Bay, and in recent years, he's watching the water creep higher and higher. He had to sell his boat because it no longer fits under the bridges to reach the lakes. And he's had to take apart his pier year after year as it's often submerged. He has some questions for local law government and wants to know what they're doing to protect him.
The county has an obligation to taxpayers to help them take care of their property, and this seems like an issue that they could solve pretty easily just by lowering the lake level at the beginning of the season.
We can do it on paper at this point if everyone could agree on what they should be on paper, but in reality, it's kind of a different situation.
We talked to city engineers about why lowering lake levels doesn't necessarily solve the problem and what you can be doing to protect your own property. That's in this morning's call for action ahead in our 7 o'clock hour. Sunflower Days continues on your Sunday, and right now may be the best time to go. Peak bloom is expected for the annual event at Pope Farms Conservancy later today. Some 100,000 people are expected to attend the event, which runs through August 4th. More than 500,000 sunflowers are in bloom in the 9-acre field. We have ticket and shuttle information up on our website, channel3000.com. And in Stoughton, the second annual Sunflower Day celebration is now in bloom at Eichster's Farm Market with more than 15 acres of sunflowers. The farm features walking trails through the sunflower field, tractor rides, and a petting farm. Sunflower Days is a passion project for owner Joy Eichster's daughter. She walks the fields and cuts flowers for visitors to take home. Both he and his daughter Kat say the beauty of the flowers is the best part of Sunflower Days.
It's a beautiful morning or an afternoon to come out. Sunflowers just make you smile. I don't know what it is about it, but it's a relaxing feeling in the field.
Flowers are just so beautiful, and people come out here to see the flowers, but we just wanted to give them something to bring home so they can enjoy the flowers for a few days afterwards.
Tickets to Sunflower Days are $7 per person. Sunflower Days there runs until August 11th. Miller Park is the place to be this weekend as the Brewers and Cubs renew their I-94 rivalry. And after last night, the pitching staff hopefully got some rest. The team's pitching rotation was not having its finest hour Saturday, taking the game into extra innings. No need to show you a bunch of highlights. This is all we need. The bottom of the 10th inning, the game tied. Kenston Hura hits a 2-run homer. It was the 22-year-old's first ever career walk-off. The Brewers win 5-3. They're now tied for the wild card with the Cubs, and both teams are just one game behind the Cards to lead the NL Central. First pitch of the deciding Game 3 series is this afternoon at 1:10. And if you'd like to see the Packers in person, head north to training camp this weekend. Today and all week long, practices begin at 10:15 a.m. New this season, a pair of joint practices with former Badger J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans on August 5th and 6th, ahead of their preseason game against each other on the 8th. The last public practice of camp will be August 19th, and then the Packers' first regular season game is a little more than a month away on September 5th against the Chicago Bears. If you can't make it to camp and wonder, like most fans, how the relationship between quarterback Aaron Rodgers and head coach Matt LaFleur is going, here's your answer, and it comes straight from Rodgers himself.
What I can say is that him and I are friends, and I think that's the first part of the relationship. And the on-the-field relationship is one that grows over time. You know, he hasn't called a play into me in a game situation yet, so there's a process of feeling comfortable with the way the play comes in, and him trusting me and me trusting him. But I feel great about the communication. I mean, he's in every meeting. We spend time one-on-one talking about stuff. He's the main voice in the offensive room.
It's 6:41. Here is a live look outside. Hattie has your full first alert forecast next. Stay with us.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. We did have just a little bit of rain late yesterday, mainly north and east of Madison. There were some showers and thunderstorms moving off to the east late in the afternoon into the evening hours. About a ½ inch of rain with some of the heavier thunderstorms. You can see, though, that rain was not widespread across the area yesterday. We do have a better chance for rain coming, but not until later on tonight. Doppler track is pretty quiet around here right now, but if we zoom the map out, you will see some showers and thunderstorms rolling across the Dakotas. showers moving into western Minnesota early this morning. Those showers and thunderstorms are associated with an area of low pressure that will be impacting our weather over the next 48 hours. Now, here's a look at the severe weather outlook. There is a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms across much of central Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, and most of Iowa today. Timing on this event, though, is going to be very late. So as those showers and thunderstorms move in tonight, they're likely going to be weakening here in southern Wisconsin. Best chances for severe weather will be to the west. Probability of precipitation starting at 1 o'clock this afternoon. There will be a few showers and thunderstorms popping up, but lifting northward out of the area. So most locations staying dry through the afternoon and evening hours. Chances for rain really start to increase by the time we hit midnight tonight. Now, here's a live look from Platteville this morning. Skies are clear there. Sun is up already. Temperature in Platteville is 70 degrees, 71 here in Madison, 68 in Lone Rock, and 72 in Janesville. A pretty mild and somewhat muggy start to the day. Dew points are already in the 60s this morning. They'll climb a little bit through the day today. You see those dew points in the 70s. That gets pretty uncomfortable. So it is going to be very humid once again. Here's your Future Track heat index forecast. Heat index already at 10:30 this morning into the 80s across southern Wisconsin, and it goes up from there. Today is a pool day across the region, feeling like around 90 by lunchtime. Most areas feeling like low 90s later on this afternoon. There will be some relief, though, coming with a cold front later on tonight. Here's a look at your Future Track forecast model. This morning, southwesterly winds, partly sunny skies, and a fast warm-up. Temperatures will already by lunch hour be in the 80s. We're climbing to highs in the mid to upper 80s across most of the area. Here's that chance for a few showers and thunderstorms to pop up as a warm front lifts northward through the area this afternoon. Most of the area, though, staying dry through the evening hours. Our next best chance for rain, again, coming overnight tonight into very early on Monday morning. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Much more comfortable as we head through next week. We're looking at plenty of sunshine once that rain comes to an end. Look at those temperatures, Keely. Upper 70s, low 80s.
The midweek looks stunning.
It does.
Yeah, and it was kind of already coming into work a little muggy this morning.
I had the AC on in the car already.
I know. You shouldn't need that at 4 in the morning.
No, you should.
But we do. All right, thanks so much, Hattie. Well, the holiday shopping season may seem like months away, but toy makers, distributors, and especially social media influencers are picking their favorite toys now. Pop Pop Snots is expected to be a hit this year, but if you're not into splattering slime, the Sweet Sweet Toy event in New York City offered plenty of alternatives. Baby Shark, Juno dolls, a new high-tech Pictionary, and the PJ Masks are all expected to be big sellers. There's also a growing number of toys straight from YouTube influencers themselves, like Ryan Toys Review. The second grader has over 20 million subscribers who've been watching him unbox and play with toys for years.
Kids are really plugged into YouTube. That's where they're getting their content, and so that's where we want to make sure you can see all these amazing toys as well.
Another YouTuber, the TikTok Toy Family, is launching toys for the first time this year. Now, the family produces skits for nearly 3 million subscribers. Well, it is 6:48, and with about a half a month left until summer break is over, you have just enough time to squeeze in a road trip. And if you're looking for a new set of wheels to take on that trip, our Harvey Briggs is here checking out the all-new 2019 Volvo S60. We're headed behind the wheel next on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Welcome back. Thousands of Nissan workers are going to lose their jobs as the car company has hit rock bottom. Those are the words the company used last quarter, and it doesn't seem their problems are going away anytime soon. The automaker announced this week they're going to have to slash 12,500 jobs worldwide. Now, back in May, Nissan only expected to cut about half of that. Its profits were almost wiped out in the first quarter of the fiscal year, and their operating profit plunged 99% in the quarter compared to a year earlier. Revenue is dropping too, down nearly 13% compared to a year ago as well. In more positive news out of the car industry, the compact luxury sedan category is full of cars from Germany, Japan, and in the case of our test car today, Sweden. Volvo, once the butt of a joke that their cars are just boxy, has stepped up its product design one model at a time. Harvey Briggs says they may have saved the best look for last as he takes our Mark Kane behind the wheel of the 2019 Volvo S60.
What is this color?
This is Fusion Red Metallic. It's kind of a red-orange, and it really looks good on this car.
Very un-Volvo-y.
Yeah, Volvo, you think black, gray, you know,
beige.
Silver, beige, right?
The 2019 Volvo S60 is anything but beige, both in color and attitude. This sure isn't the Volvo we grew up with.
No, it doesn't have that same boxy look that the old ones did.
This company sort of flies under the radar.
Yeah, Volvo came back a few years ago after Ford sold them to a Chinese company, Geely, and they've slowly rebuilt themselves. This is the last of the new models that they introduced, this S60 sedan.
The Volvo may be financed in China, but this car is designed in Sweden, engineered in Sweden, and assembled at a brand new plant in South Carolina, built specifically to put the S60 together.
Volvo is here to stay, and if they keep making cars this good, there's no reason they shouldn't be.
Our test model, a T6R design, is powered by a 316 horsepower four-cylinder that's both turbocharged and supercharged. A base T5 gets 250 horses.
I love the way it drives. I like the design, the comfort. I like the Volvo brand and the sense of safety that comes along with it. And I actually like this engine, even though it's not the best sounding of the bunch.
And it's quite a bunch that this S60 is running with.
Competition from BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, the new Genesis G70 that we drove that is so good. There are a ton of great vehicles in this category, and this one really stands out for me. It's right at the top of the list. It stands out, which is nice. You know, there's a lot of sameness in car design now, but Volvo's, though they maintain the traditional shapes of SUVs and sedans, they have created their own identity that connects to their past, but stands out from all the other cars today.
It stands out, outside and in. Well, that sure is nice in here.
Yeah, I am a big fan of Volvo interiors. It just is clean and classic and understated.
Most controls are made through a giant 12.3-inch driver's display. It's called the Sensus Infotainment Center and works with a touchscreen or voice control.
And so right now it's beautiful.
Well, it has an opinion.
Yes. I like a car that has a personality.
The S60 also passes the Harvey test.
I've got that seat where I like it up front.
Which is pretty far back.
Yeah. And
not bad.
Not bad. I can sit back here comfortably. I'd rather be in that seat because it's more fun to drive than ride.
There's plenty of room for storage, but if you need more, the S60 is also available as a station wagon. It's called the V60.
The station wagon, honestly, would be one of the two cars I'd put in my garage.
What's the other one?
The Miata. That's my ideal garage, a Volvo V60 and a Mazda Miata.
There you have it.
That's it.
There you have it.
Now the T5 starts at $36,000. Mark and Harvey's test car, the T6 R Design all-wheel drive with all the bells and whistles, will set you back $55 grand. If you're in the market for a new car, head to Harvey's website ridesanddrives.com for more reviews. There's a full hour of news still ahead on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Next, we're running through the day's top stories. But first, here's a preview of what's to come on an all-new For the Record.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Neil Heinen. Today on For the Record, we're going to talk about a powerful exhibit currently on display at Overture Center for the Arts. It's called Immigrant Journeys from South of the Border, and it's the stories of those who made the decision to come to the United States, and thus it adds human faces to the immigration issues with which our nation is struggling right now. The exhibition is a collaboration between the Wisconsin Humanities Council and Centro Hispano, and my guest is Centro Hispano Executive Director Karen Mendendez-Collar. And that's coming up this morning at 10:30 on News 3 Now.
Right now, as the U.S. tensions with Syria continue to ramp up, we're headed to the region for an exclusive, never-before-seen look at the fight American troops undergo every day.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's July 28th. I'm Keely Arthur. We'll get a check on weather with Hattie in just a second. But first, here are 3 things to know as you get your day started. Madison police are looking for several people who they say stole a vehicle from a garage on the city's west side. It happened just after 2:30 this morning at the 1700 block of Waterbend Drive. Now, officers say they noticed a vehicle that looked abandoned as they pulled up to the area. That vehicle belonged to a nearby homeowner who called police after hearing a loud noise in their garage. The vehicle was reportedly damaged as it left the garage, and officers believe the suspects they're now looking for got into the garage through a window. Police are looking for a Sauk County Huber inmate who has been on the run since Thursday. Officials say 38-year-old Caleb Turner was released from the Huber Center for groundskeeping work outside the jail. Then Turner left without permission and did not return. He was scheduled to serve a 6-month commitment after he failed to pay child support. Police say he doesn't pose a threat to the public, but anyone with information about his location is asked to contact their local law enforcement agency. Well, today might be the best time to head to Middleton for Sunflower Days. Peak bloom is expected to hit at Pope Farms Conservancy later today. Some 100,000 people are expected to attend now through August 4th. More than 500,000 sunflowers are in bloom in the 9-acre field. We have ticket information on our website, channel3000.com. And it should be a gorgeous day to check out those sunflowers. Hattie is in with your Sunday forecast. Hi, Hattie.
Good morning, Keely. Yes, it's going to warm up quickly today. Sunshine, though, in the forecast through most of the day. Take a live look outside from the Edgewater Skycam out over Lake Mendota. A pretty quiet start to this Sunday morning. We did have a little bit of fog earlier through the Wisconsin River Valley, but the sun is quickly taking care of that. 75 in Madison, 72 in Mineral Point, 71 in Platteville. A little bit cooler to start in the Dells with 65 degrees. Dew points, though, are rather high. From Madison and points to the south, we're generally seeing dew points in the 70s. So that means it's already pretty muggy outside, and it's only going to get worse. As you look at the day, the next 12 hours, temperatures will quickly climb into the 80s this morning, topping right around 88 degrees at 4 p.m. this afternoon. Winds will stay from the south and west. Now, there's an outside chance for a shower this afternoon, but better chances late tonight. Let's get a peek at those traffic maps again early this morning. We'll see what's happening on the roads. Pretty quiet here in Madison. Looks like your drive times, if you're headed into the capital city right now, still looking normal for this time of the day. And that's your First Alert traffic.
All right, thanks, Hattie. A heads up, if you're planning on driving to Verona Road later today, lanes will be closed starting tonight for construction on the Verona Road Bridge. Southbound drivers will be restricted to 2 lanes from Sunday through Tuesday night. Crews are then going to shift to the northbound side of Verona Road, where only 2 lanes will be open from Wednesday morning to Thursday night. We're told you should expect delays during morning and afternoon rush hours while this construction is happening. Another Madison area road is set to reopen tomorrow morning in time for your drive to work. West Olin Avenue has been closed since Friday morning between South Park Street and Lowell Street, so crews could repave that area. It's part of an ongoing road repair project on Park Street between Olin and West Washington Ave. That stretch of West Olin should be back open by 6 a.m. Monday. New this morning, hundreds of Guatemalans are taking to the streets to protest an agreement their president, Jimmy Morales, signed with the U.S., which requires migrants passing through the Central American country to seek asylum there rather than pushing north to the U.S. The protesters are now calling on their president to resign for having caved to U.S. demands. As part of the asylum agreement, the U.S. has promised to increase access to the H-2A visa program for temporary agricultural workers from Guatemala. Guatemala's top court has weighed in on the deal, saying the agreement must be approved by the country's Congress to be enforceable. Right now, Guatemalans account for 34% of Border Patrol arrests at the Mexican border from October to June, more than any other nationality. Hondurans were second at 30%, followed by Mexicans and Salvadorians. As tensions with Iran continue to ramp up, the top U.S. commander for the Middle East has been traveling through the region. CBS News correspondent David Martin is the only TV correspondent traveling with General Frank McKenzie. And in a story you'll see right here, he was given a rare look at U.S. troops fighting ISIS.
An American Black Hawk helicopter lands on a sun-blasted airstrip inside Syria. A small part of the nearly 1,000 U.S. troops still in Syria, still hunting for ISIS. CBS News flew in here with General Frank McKenzie, commander of U.S. forces in the Middle East.
Well, David, clearly we're still in Syria. We're working with our partners here to complete back clearing and finish off ISIS in the Euphrates River Valley, east of the Euphrates River. those operations are continuing, and they're continuing with good effect.
The main U.S. base and supply hub for operations in Syria is located in the north, where a runway long enough to handle jet transports had 12 flights scheduled the day we were there. In southern Syria, a dry lake bed serves as the airstrip for the remote outpost of Atamf. It looks like a remake of a Mad Max movie. It's not the end of the earth, troops like to say, but you can see it from here. We asked General McKenzie what in the world U.S. troops are doing here.
So, David, we're standing in the middle of the Damascus-Baghdad highway, just inside southern Syria, and the U.S. forces that are here are involved with their partners carrying on the fight to finish ISIS off.
Operating out of this compound, which still bears the scars of previous battles, U.S. Special Forces travel to even more remote outposts to enlist local tribes in the hunt for ISIS. 1,000 troops may not seem like a lot until you see all that it takes to support them. The Ospreys that took us out of Syria had to refuel in midair in order to make it. It's been 8 months since President Trump ordered all U.S. troops out of Syria. But all you have to do is look around and you can see they're not going anywhere anytime soon. David Martin at Atamf Garrison in southeast Syria.
Important information there. Sunflower Days continues on your Sunday right back home, and right now may be the best time to go. Peak bloom is expected for the annual event at Pope Farms Conservancy later today. Some 100,000 people are expected to attend the event, which runs through August 4th. More than 500,000 sunflowers are in bloom in the 9-acre field. And we have ticket and shuttle information up on our website, channel3000.com. Over in Stoughton, the second annual Sunflower Days celebration is now in bloom at Eichster's Farm Market. With more than 15 acres of sunflowers. The farm features walking trails through the sunflower field, tractor rides, and a petting zoo. Sunflower Days is a passion project for the family that owns the farm.
It's a beautiful morning or an afternoon to come out. Sunflowers just make you smile. I don't know what it is about it, but it's a relaxing feeling in the field.
Flowers are just so beautiful, and people come out here to see the flowers, but we just wanted to give them something to bring home so they can enjoy the flowers for a few days afterwards.
Tickets to Sunflower Days there are $7 per person. Sunflower Days is until August 11th. Miller Park is the place to be this weekend as the Brewers and Cubs renew their I-94 rivalry. And after last night, the pitching staff hopefully got some rest. The team's pitching rotation was not having its finest hour Saturday, taking the game into extra innings. No need to show you a bunch of highlights. This is all we needed to see. The bottom of the 10th inning, the game, Keston Hura hits a 2-run homer. It was the 22-year-old's first ever career walk-off. The Brewers win 5-3. They're now tied for the wild card with the Cubs, and both teams are just one game behind the Cards to lead the NL Central. First pitch of the deciding game 3 is this afternoon at 1:10. A busy next 2 days for the Packers. Besides training camp, the team will host family night on Friday at Lambeau. And then on August 5th and 6th, the Houston Texans come to Wisconsin for a joint practice between the two teams. It's something head coach Matt LaFleur did the last 2 seasons that he was head coach of the Titans. And Triton Williams also has some experience sharing the field during training camp.
Well, I've done it before when I was in Cleveland. So it's a good experience. I don't think we ever done it around here before. So to get a chance to do that and bring in a fan favorite, J.J. Watt, I think people will really like that. So it'll be fun.
Today and all week long, practice starts at 10:15 a.m. The last public practice of camp will be August 19th, and then the Packers' first regular season game is a little more than a month away. That's on September 5th against the Chicago Bears. It's 7:10, and here is a live look outside. Coming up next, Hattie will have your full First Alert forecast. Stay with us.
Good morning from the patio. Already sticky outside this morning. Thank goodness I'm standing in the shade because it is going to be a hot one today. You'll know it as soon as you step out the door this morning. Nothing showing up on the radar map around here, but I am keeping my eye on those showers and thunderstorms that are exiting the Dakotas, moving into western Minnesota at this hour. They're going to take their time working their way into southern Wisconsin, but there is a storm system responsible for that rain, and that will be impacting our weather over the next day to day and a half. Now, the severe weather outlook for today is just a marginal risk across much of central Wisconsin. Dane County and Madison will be included in that. I'll be honest, though, as those storms move in real late today, they are expected to be weakening somewhat. There may be some gusty winds and some brief heavy rain associated with those storms, but otherwise, things should stay relatively quiet. Here's a look at what's happening. We have a warm front that is just to our south this morning. That front will be lifting through the area today. Maybe enough to set off a few showers or thunderstorms, but they'll be moving out of the region to the north if they do develop. Our best chance for rain comes as that area of low pressure and cold front further back to the west slide across the region tonight. A live look from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville this morning. Skies are completely clear there. Nice sunny start to the day. In Platteville, if you're just waking up, it's 71 degrees, 72 in Mineral Point, 75 here in Madison. Little cooler to the north, 65 in the Dells, and even down into the 50s as you get up towards Black River Falls. Dew points, though, are going to stay pretty elevated today. They're already in the 60s. They'll be climbing into the low 70s at times this afternoon. So we start with uncomfortable conditions, and then we transition to downright tropical conditions by this afternoon with those dew points in the 70s. So keep in mind, the heat index is going to be quite high today, into the 90s. Find ways to stay cool. Your future track forecast model starting this morning at 10:30, showing you as that front lifts through the area, there's an outside chance that you may see a shower or thunderstorm. That activity lifts north, though, through the afternoon, leaving most of the area dry during the afternoon and evening hours. Later on tonight, that's when our showers and thunderstorms really start to spread in from the west. They'll move across southern Wisconsin overnight, so you may hear a few rumbles of thunder overnight, even here in Madison. Then they'll exit the area pretty quickly on Monday. Skies will be back to sunny for the rest of the day on Monday. It may take a little bit to clear out the humidity. I think it may still feel a little muggy on Monday, but by Tuesday, feeling much more comfortable with highs in the upper 70s. Wednesday and Thursday and even Friday look great. Dry weather, temps in the 80s.
Happy to see we're not quite at that don't talk to me level just yet for today, Hattie.
That's true. We're getting close, but not there.
I'll take tropical.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much, Hattie.
You're welcome.
We've been asking you to share your morning with us. This is a gorgeous photo from Pat sharing a sunrise from Janesville. Thanks for sharing that one. What does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it to Channel 3000's Facebook page or on Twitter using the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We'll share our favorites right here on News 3 Now this morning. Well, it is 7:17 and we're now less than a month away from fall semester move-in for college students. And whether your kid is heading away or you're moving yourself, experts from 2 Men and a Truck are joining us this morning to talk about how to keep yourself and your belongings safe in the heat. That's next on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. We're still dealing with a little bit of fog this morning. Visibility through the Wisconsin River Valley near zero. Also a little bit of fog reported in Juneau. The fog should burn off pretty quickly this morning. Temperatures are already in the upper 60s and 70s across southern Wisconsin. It's going to be a quick warm up today if you have a tea time. Here are the temperatures going through the day. Already back into the low 80s by lunchtime, climbing into the upper 80s today. But when you factor in the humidity, it's going to feel like it's in the 90s. Stay safe today.
All right, thanks for tracking that for us, Hattie. The summer is the busiest moving season of the year, which comes with benefits like avoiding the snow and ice, but moving in the heat can also present problems. That's why experts from Two Men and a Truck are here with tips on how to stay sane and cool while moving in the summer. Good morning, Tim Leitner joining us. Tim, you were just talking, you said it gets really kind of chaotic, especially in that August, September time.
Absolutely. You know, the busiest time of year for moving is always between, say, Memorial Day and Labor Day. And then we get this extra kind of chaotic time during August when the universities have and the colleges around town have their student move-in time. So it's crazy for sure.
And that's usually the time when it really is the warmest in our area. What are some of the things that people need to kind of be mindful of when moving during the heat?
Yeah, for sure. And that's a great question. You know, obviously the first thing we tell everybody is to be very safe. So hydrate lots, keep your air conditioning running in your old place and your new place. Sometimes people don't always think about that. And then there's some other things that people don't always think about, like what of your personal belongings you really need to think about. So things like maybe that old vinyl record collection that you have, or if you have a musical instrument, this can be really sensitive to heat, so you might want to move some of these things in your car. Other items would include candles and crayons and cosmetics and things that would be extra sensitive to the heat, because it's going to be about 20 degrees warmer in the back of the truck.
Yeah, and I think moving is kind of the thing where people are like, I'm going to do it myself, but then once you kind of start down that road, it can be really taxing. Why is it maybe kind of a good idea to hire on some extra hands?
Well, you know, I think generally speaking, the reason that most people hire a mover is because it just makes the process go much quicker. The pros tend to know how to load the furniture faster and protect your furniture much better as well. So those would be the two reasons I would say. Plus, you don't burn out your relationships with your friends.
Exactly.
And that sort of thing.
I know Madison is, you kind of, I think, cover a few different areas. Is Madison particularly chaotic because it's the university and then it's that time where all the other leases are up?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, there's a large apartment community here and lots of apartments. Apartment leases tend to end at the end of the month. So that always adds lots of extra demand, and then you throw in some road construction and summer events, and it makes it even more fun.
I've tried to move during that August 14th, August 15th time, and by the time I kind of get going on that, U-Haul, everything's booked up. Are there still, opportunities for people to work with your company?
Yes, for sure. We do our best to fit in last-minute moves, but it's always best to be prepared and call when you know.
Call right now.
Yes,
All right.
indeed.
Well, thank you so much, Tim, for waking up with us. We really appreciate those tips.
It was a pleasure.
Great. Well, there's still a half hour of news ahead on News 3 this morning, Sunday. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories. And we're talking to people who live along Madison's lakes and why they want to know why lake levels won't go down. If you have questions about future flooding, take a listen to this story. News 3 this morning, Sunday. We'll be right back.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, it's July 28th. I'm Keely Arthur. We'll get a check on your weather with Hattie in just a second, but first, here are 3 things to know as you get your day started. Madison police are looking for several people who they say stole a vehicle from a garage on the city's west side. It happened just after 2:30 this morning at the 1700 block of Waterbend Drive. Officers say they noticed a vehicle that looked abandoned as they pulled up to the area. That vehicle belonged to a nearby homeowner who says that he had to call police after hearing a large noise from the garage. The vehicle was reportedly damaged as it left that area, and officers believe the suspects they're now looking for got into the garage through a window. A heads up, if you plan on driving on Verona Road later today, lanes will be closed on the Verona Road area starting tonight for construction at the bridge. Southbound drivers will be redirected to 2 lanes from Sunday through Tuesday night. Crews are then going to shift to the northbound side of Verona Road, where only 2 lanes will be open from Wednesday morning until Thursday night. We're told you should expect delays during morning and afternoon rush hours while the construction is happening. And if you'd like to see the Packers in person, head north to training camp this weekend. Today and all week long, practice starts at 10:15 a.m. New this season, a pair of joint practices with former Badger J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans on August 5th and 6th ahead of their preseason game against each other on the 8th. The last public practice of camp will be August 19th, and then the Packers' first regular season game is a little more than a month away on September 5th against the Chicago Bears. Well, not quite football weather just yet. Hattie is in with a pretty steamy forecast.
You're right. A lot of summer in this forecast, Keely. Take a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. Skies are clear as we look to the west from the station. A little bit hazy in the distance. There is plenty of moisture in the atmosphere to go around today. Temperatures from Madison and points to the south are in the 70s, 71 in Watertown, 72 in Janesville, 75 here in Madison. We're actually the warm spot. Temperatures will climb quickly. Already before the lunch hour, we're in the 80s, topping in the upper 80s once again this afternoon with the southwest wind. It'll feel like it's in the 90s though when you factor in that humidity. Here's a look at your future track heat index numbers. At peak heating right around 4:30, feeling like it's in the low 90s in most spots. Now let's get a look at First Alert traffic maps this morning. We'll see what's happening on area roads. Still pretty quiet early on this Sunday morning. No major issues to report. I did look around the area. There are not any accidents, and travel in and around Dane County still looking like it's going at posted speeds. And that's your First Alert traffic.
All right, thank you, Hattie. It's been almost a year since historic flooding took over people's yards, basements, and lives and caused more than $200 million in damage. This summer, those memories have neighbors who live at the edge of Madison's lakes on edge as they watch the water creep closer to their property lines. They're asking what local leaders are doing to protect them. Leah Linscheid has their call for action.
I've always just been a fan of being out on the lake.
It's not exactly an unpopular opinion when you live here.
We like to enjoy the water. We have 2 kayaks. You know, we get out as much as we can. We like to swim off the pier.
In case you needed another reason, there are a couple behind why Topher Christensen chose to return to his home city of Madison and buy along Monona Bay. But in the 5 years he's been back, something seems to be creeping up on him constantly.
My pier has become a swim-up bar for the ducks.
The water level's gone up so much, Topher decided to sell his motorboat. He can't get it out of the bay anymore.
If you want to get out to the larger part of the lake, you can't really go under the main bridge anymore because the water's so high.
Even his kayaks can't escape under the railroad bridges. In last year's historic flooding, his yard was one of many sustaining some damage.
You can see where my good grass stops and my bad grass starts. That's where the water came to.
The question Topher has is also something we've heard before.
What is the county doing, you know, for people like me in the short term to alleviate any issues that might come? The county has an obligation to taxpayers to help them take care of their property, and this seems like an issue that they could solve pretty easily just by lowering the lake level at the beginning of the season.
We can do it on paper at this point. if everyone could agree on what they should be on paper, but in reality, it's kind of a different situation.
This isn't the first time we've reported on rising lake levels and what's being done about them. Here's a quick recap, according to city engineers. Back in 1979, the DNR set the lake levels, and they're still in place today, despite lots of changes to the landscape, more rain events, and 2 attempts since 2000 to change those levels.
The written lake levels right now, or as they stand, we're unable to fulfill those.
Consider this. The range of acceptable lake levels set by the DNR is no bigger than the size of my cell phone, about 6 inches. And Dane County can't operate within that range right now. So lowering lake levels isn't really an option.
Currently, the county is doing the best that they can to maintain the lake levels within that range, but we have too much water entering the system.
Aside from too much rain and not enough room, changing lake levels would disrupt a host of other issues, from pier levels for residents and businesses to ecosystems at the nearby Cherokee Marsh. Instead, the county's working along the Yahara chain of lakes to get the water to move quicker. It's also reviewing recommendations from a task force on studies, dam management, and more. We asked city engineers what residents can be doing to protect themselves. First, and most obvious, prepare ahead of time. For example, purchase plastic sheeting before a major rain event.
During last year's flooding, all of the stores in the nearby vicinity ran out of the sheeting because so many people needed it to wrap up the sandbags to make sure that they are more impermeable.
Second, take advantage of the resources out there. The city provides weekly flooding assessments, sandbag information, flood preparation tips, and a host of other helpful maps. Third, consider flood insurance.
Most folks don't know that flood insurance from FEMA is actually available for people at a very low cost when you're outside of the floodplain.
Since folks aren't allowed to develop within a floodplain, this covers most people in Madison. Back in Topher's backyard,
I had a neighbor 2 doors down who just kind of paid a lot of money to raise his shoreline 2 feet.
he's not the only one with opinions on what to do next.
He's just not waiting for, government to take action. He took action himself. This is not an issue that we can wait, 4 to 5 years to figure out.
With this call for action, I'm Leah Lynchide for News 3 Now.
We have a host of information, city and county leaks, and much more tips on channel3000.com. And if you have consumer complaints or a question, our call for action volunteers can help with that. They're here every Monday and Wednesday and Friday from 11 until 1 p.m. You can reach them at the number on your screen. That's 608-270-2833. Still ahead, 3 days, 275 miles with one goal. The 17th annual AIDS Ride returns to Madison today. Next, we'll hear from the event organizers. More than 6,000 people are living with HIV/AIDS in Wisconsin, and it's estimated that an additional 1,500 are not diagnosed but are living with the disease. This weekend's 17th annual AIDS Ride raises money for the AIDS Resource Center of Wisconsin. And before riders return to the Madison area later today, Dan Mueller joins us to talk about why this event is so important. Good morning, Dan. Thank you for joining us. And explain a little bit about what the AIDS Ride is trying to accomplish.
Well, it's 17 years old, and it is getting a lot of people involved in the fight against AIDS and doing it in a unique and fun way that celebrates summer, certainly celebrates the biking culture in Wisconsin, and connects them to a very important segment of our population, people who are thriving and seeking better health with HIV.
You were saying before, decades ago, HIV/AIDS was kind of a death sentence, but now this is more about raising funds for people that are living with the disease.
It is. In fact, people with HIV live longer and healthier in Wisconsin than they do in any other state in the country. And we think that because we see the lion's share of those patients in the state of Wisconsin, we have a lot to do with that. And our donors and our riders have a lot to do with that as well.
What do you think Wisconsin is doing specifically that is promoting that?
I think specifically it goes back to this concept of an HIV medical home model of care. To say that we have integrated care, you know, is something a lot of people say they have integrated care. But at the AIDS Resource Center of Wisconsin, some with HIV can get their dental care, they can get their medical care, behavioral health and wellness care. They can access an HIV-specific pharmacy. In addition to that, if they're food unstable, we have a food pantry for them. We have housing assistance available for them. We have legal assistance available to all of these patients. And so when all of those services are working in concert with each other and the patient is accessing all of those different services that surround them, this home concept becomes one of the most vital contributions to the health and well-being of this patient population in the state of Wisconsin.
And I know that the AIDS Ride is kind of wrapping up, but what do you have to say to maybe a viewer watching that is interested in participating with your resource center?
Well, it is never too soon to get ready for next year's ride. We certainly want to encourage participation in that. The riders will be coming in today to Lake Farm Park, and there's going to be a welcome home celebration for them. These folks have been on their bikes for hours each day for the last 3 days. And so they are completing a 275-mile, 3-day course through southern Wisconsin to raise awareness for the fight against AIDS and to celebrate fundraising and what those funds can contribute to, which is that medical home model that is prolonging life and longevity and good health and happiness for people with HIV.
Yeah, it seems like there are just so many supportive resources working in concert, like you said.
It is, and to the extent that a patient can lean into all of those services and take advantage of all of that, that really determines the outcome. And so, you know, a lot of credit has to be given to our patients, many of whom are combating not just HIV, but other co-illnesses. And many of them are doing it from a financially disadvantaged point in their lives. And so all of the services that are provided at the AIDS Resource Center of Wisconsin, all of these medical home services that we've been talking about, are all provided regardless of ability to pay, thanks to the peddling power of people participating in this ride this weekend.
All right, well, that is amazing. Thank you again for coming over to Madison and talking with us about it, and we really appreciate it, Dan.
Thank you.
Well, the hardest leg of the annual ride is almost done, but today riders will finish the last 25 miles. That portion starts at noon from Lake Farm County Park. Ahead, you're taking a live look at the Capitol. Hattie is back with your full forecast next on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. But first, let's take a look at who is 3 today. Happy birthday, McKenna.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. Not a lot of rain across southern Wisconsin over the last 24 hours. There were some showers and thunderstorms mainly northeast of Madison that added up to about a ½ inch of rain. At least that's what Doppler is estimating in a few spots, but most of the area staying dry yesterday. We start off on a dry, well, relatively dry note this morning. No rain, but it's very muggy outside. To the west, though, we're watching some showers and thunderstorms rolling into western Minnesota as we speak. This entire storm system is going to move in our direction, but we have most of the day today with dry conditions, so you'll have another pretty warm and humid day today. The severe weather outlook does indicate that there's a marginal risk for severe weather for southern Minnesota, most of Iowa, and central Wisconsin. This does include areas from Madison points to the north. Now again, timing on those showers and thunderstorms will be critical. They're expected to move into our area late, so the chances for severe weather are a little bit smaller. Probability of precipitation pretty low through the day. There's an outside chance early this afternoon, then dry through the late afternoon and evening hours, with those rain chances increasing after dark tonight. Now, speaking of a look outside right now from the Edgewater Sky Cam, this is from the Edgewater building in downtown Madison, looking out over Lake Mendota. Pretty quiet start to the day today. I imagine the lake will be a pretty popular place. When you step out the door, if you have the AC on this morning, it's already 75 in Madison, 73 in Watertown, 75 in Janesville. It's a pretty muggy start to the day. Dew points are in the 60s. They'll be climbing into the low 70s for a few hours this afternoon. So it's going to get pretty uncomfortable. Those heat index values are going to climb quickly today. Here's 10 o'clock, already feeling like low to mid 80s for southern Wisconsin. As we approach the lunch hour, we start to see some of those numbers in the 90s. And again, this afternoon, it's going to feel like 92 in Juneau and Watertown. Good day for the water parks and the Dells. It'll feel like 91 degrees. It'll feel like low 90s here in Madison. Now, relief is coming overnight tonight into tomorrow. Here's your future track forecast model. Most of the day will be dry today, just partly sunny skies, southerly winds, and a quick warm up. There is a chance as a warm front lives through the area for a few showers to pop up this afternoon, but they'll be lifting out of the area. The rest of the afternoon and evening looks dry. Our best chance for rain comes overnight tonight as that cold front moves through the area. You may hear a few rumbles of thunder as well with that front moving through. Clearing skies, though, expected on Monday. We return to pretty quiet conditions. I think it'll take a little bit for the humidity to clear through the day on Monday, but by Tuesday, that's when you're definitely feeling a difference. Starting out in the upper 50s, topping at 78 in the afternoon. We have a trio in the Pet Walk forecast. Look at these guys, Sasha, Rocky, and Stormy. Ooh, good name. In Middleton. 87
My goodness,
degrees.
We never get 3 of the pups. I like this. We need to have 3 animals in every one of our pet walks.
That's true. That's true. They're probably all from the same household. That's a pretty busy house. 87, so if they're taking a walk at 3, make it a quick one.
Quick one for those guys. All right, thanks so much, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Well, there's more news all day long here on News 3 Now. Then tomorrow morning, we're headed out to Verona Road to check out the latest on the work being done there and how it could create chaos and confusion for your morning Monday commute. But first, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Dancer Paige Frazier is one of them. How this breakout star has used her relentless determination to overcome big barriers. That's next on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Welcome back. CBS's series Pushing the Limits profiles seemingly ordinary people who are doing remarkable things. Dancer Paige Frazier is one of them. She displays effortless elegance as she performs with Beyonce or stars in a commercial.
Errol Barnett shows us how this breakout star has relied on her fierce determination to overcome her barriers and achieve dance and life greatness.
The only thing Paige Frazier ever dreamed of becoming was a ballerina.
I went in for a physical, and the doctor made me bend over and bend up, and he said, "I see a slight curvature."
So when she was diagnosed with scoliosis at age 13, the highly invasive surgery that might correct it scared her.
I was like, this is insane. My spine literally curved in 2 places. I was very unsure and angry that this was happening to me.
Why were you angry?
Because hearing the word surgery, knowing that that could and possibly would end my career as a dancer. Just the surgery alone consisted of putting rods in your spine. You know, I cried for days.
Deciding against surgery, Frazier turned those tears into fierce tenacity.
In a ballet class, your hips need to be square, your shoulders need to be square, and all of these things are altered with scoliosis. One shoulder is higher, one hip is higher.
With years of physical therapy and corrective back braces, Frazier stabilized her chronic spinal condition, becoming an award-winning dancer. She performed in this Beyonce World Tour video and in her own Intel commercial. And now, at 28 years old, Frazier has made her musical theater debut at Chicago's famed lyric opera in West Side Story.
I think everything I've gone through with scoliosis and being a dancer of color and having to be the best in the room prepared me for this, because I walked in ready.
Frazier credits her parents, Alexia and Edward, for the resilience she's needed to keep going.
It was hard financially for my family. And I think about it and I'm like, wow, my parents really sacrificed.
What do you make of their sacrifice for you? I mean, you're very fortunate to have that support.
Yeah. I'm thankful. Let's do a grand port de bras.
Frazier's sharing her blessings with young aspiring dancers, offering workshops through her own foundation.
I feel in my heart it's very important to share my testimony with other dancers, especially dancers of color. 1, 2.
What do you say to someone watching this who maybe they're into dance or athletics or something completely different, and they too have a disability that makes them hesitate and makes them self-doubt?
Giving up was not an option for me, and I don't advise it. I don't, because then you're feeding into that negativity. I think you have to push yourself to see the light.
What an incredible story.
Yeah, amazing woman, just overcoming all the odds.
Yeah, some people maybe dancing over by the lakes today. It's gonna be pretty steamy out there.
Or in the pool.
Or in the pool, dancing somewhere.
Get out that slip and slide for today. We are going to need it. A live look from Platteville this morning. Clear skies there, lots of sunshine. Temperatures will climb to highs in the upper 80s. Keeley, it's going to feel a little bit warmer, though, when you factor in that humidity.
I like the heat. I'm excited. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.